I was building two businesses. I was probably working close to 70, 80 hours a week, and I was making, on average, about $2,500 a month. First month, I think I made $7K. The third month, I made $11K. Last month, we did about $25,000.
Tell us, who were you before you joined the agency Accelerator?
So before I joined the agency Accelerator, I was kind of a freelancer, kind of a tech founder. I was like split in between, and I felt like my effort was not being divided in half, but being divided, into thirds, and not getting that remaining productivity from the last 30% or so. So when I joined the Accelerator, I was looking for a way to hone my focus, offering services like graphic design, marketing, product development, strategy, things like that. It wasn't really definitive lines on what I would offer, not definitive lines on who I would take as a client, and not even really enough experience to say who made a good client and didn't make a good client.
What made you end up joining the program?
The main reason that I joined Six Figure Agency Accelerator is because I had a connection with somebody that was in the program. I had seen it work in real life and living color, and I had seen it transform not only a business but a lifestyle to something that I was really looking toward. And I was also in a position where I was, the freelancer who was short of time and short of money, and I wanted to break free of those shackles. So, having seen somebody go through it, knowing that I could do that myself if I really apply myself, I was willing to make a commitment that I'm going to either try to perform at that level or above that level to reach similar heights in the business.
What was your revenue and work hours like before the program?
Well, because I was building two businesses, I was probably working close to 70, 80 hours a week, and I was making, on average, about $2,500 a month, because I was only dedicating part of my time to the agency or to the creative business, which actually made revenue, whereas the tech business was, an investment style business, so it wasn't making revenue. So not only was I trying to pay for a lifestyle, but I was also trying to invest in my tech startup. So it was like split in quadruples in terms of budget and time and things like that.
Right. What were some specific things that the program helped you with to grow your business?
So I would say the most pivotal changes that it instilled a new mentality of growth in my mind, but some of the more tactical things that came with that were a more driven test and learn mentality. So going and trying new things, trying new segments, trying new strategies, things like cold calling, something I had never done in the past. I got pretty advanced at managing cold callers. I also got pretty comfortable with building funnels because of the nature, the strategic learnings from the program taught me how to lay things out in really clear format, which helped inform my funnel building and funnel design process, and then actually building those funnels. So that was part of it. My sales acumen also sharpened a lot because I had a structured sales process that I worked through with my coaches in the program, and I also had a structured sales call script, which is pretty important, in designing a conversation and controlling an alpha positioning a conversation. So that was part of it. So closing more deals, having more structure to the business, and then from a motivational perspective, there was a lot of positive accountability with other people in the program.
What were some specific results that you achieved after joining the program?
So after joining the program, I would say one big accomplishment is that I was willing to size, to cut out working on one of my businesses, which I wouldn't have done that without that accountability and coaching, because I was kind of had no choice but to make a decision to focus, and that unleashed a whole new world of opportunity. And in the first month, I think I made 6K, 7K, something like that. In the second month, I made 9K. In the third month, I made 11K. And then after that, I went to a monthly recurring revenue of 9,000 in revenue per month. Today I'm at last month we did about 25,000. This month we're at like 16,000 in guaranteed sales, because a lot of them are MRR, or monthly recurring contracts. And then if we get a few more projects, it would probably be closer to 20 and 25.
What was your favorite part or most impactful part of the program?
I would say the most impactful part is structure that you can trust. So knowing that whether or not you're going to implement every single tactic or every single piece of advice or accountability that you get along the way is ultimately up to you as an entrepreneur and as an agency founder. But there's structure that you can confide in. So if you need a sales script, there's one. That there's a standard operating process template that you can use. And so it's a very confident thing to be able to fall back on a safety net of structure, so that even if you feel completely opaque about your own structure, you can take bits and pieces and use them as puzzle pieces to design your own masterpiece.
And how has the program impacted your life?
Personally, like I said before, it's important that I cut out one of my businesses so that I wasn't split between two hugely conflicting priorities. And so I gained a lot more happiness through that. I gained a lot more time through that. And I also realized a lot more of my own potential, because I had a bad psychology around my earning capability. I thought I wasn't able to earn money in business for myself because I was split, and I was working on one business that was, a tech company depending on investors for revenue, not depending on its own product. So there's a psychological switch from being a tech founder building a product that might go big one day to somebody who's genuinely delivering a valuable service to people every day and getting paid for it. So that positive psychology has reinforced me into more sales and a better life outcome, more happiness, more time for myself, more travel time to be in places like this.
What are some of the objections that you had going into the program? And now having been through the program, what would you share to speak to those types of objections if somebody had those similar things coming in?
I think for myself at least, the biggest objection was coming up with, a few $1,000s. That's hard to do, especially as a broke founder or a broke agency owner. I even asked my dad to pay for it. He didn't end up needing to. I closed a deal that ended up paying for the first month of service, or the first month of the program. But once I had confidence in a sales conversation, I closed a $3,000 per month deal pretty soon thereafter, and then bought back the program's value. And that kind of made the financial picture not as much of a concern for me. Even if I could have done that $3,000 deal on my own, at least I was creating a foundation where I could make more of those in a more consistent way. And then sure enough, the business has grown from a few $1,000s to 20-something thousand last month. So that's a pretty important thing to consider, is committing to yourself for that level of investment. Was I ready to commit to a few $1,000s investment in myself at the time? Probably not fully, and my bank account sure wasn't ready, but once I made that commitment to myself, I was okay with it. And the fruits of my labor and our labor show for themselves. Beyond that, I'm skeptical about info products. I'm skeptical about coaching platforms. I'm a very intrinsically driven guy. I have my own goals. I have my own pursuits and vision. And I'm not always open to other people's perspectives just based on the way I take information. But it's been a program that's much more based around what my experience is right now, and less than you need to fit into this structure that we have. So from an informational perspective, it's more like coaching than it is like consulting in that sense.
Who would you say that the program is for, and why?
I would say the program is for anyone who has a lot of creative skills that they know are being underutilized because of the structural aspect of business. Any creative who thinks that it's a pain in the ass to do accounting or to do HR, one, you're not alone. All of us suck at it. But two, this program, like I said, you can confide in the structure. It's kind of like a centerpiece or a backbone for your company, so that even if you don't want to design any of the architecture or your information systems, you have those in the program, so that you can focus on creative if that's what you want to do, or if you can focus on revenue growth if that's what you want to do. You can delegate and teach you how.
Did I remember where I'm from? I remember where I'm from. Did I remember where I'm from? I remember where I'm from. Did I remember?